Yo people, how you doing? This is your hostess of the mostest, Mr. Courtney Winston, live in the place today. We just have to switch it off and come back on again. Welcome to Black Car Speakers Lounge, every Sunday 5 p.m, where we have awesome special guests that we invite on this platform. Everyone jump on in the room again. Welcome again, Mr. Sweatstorm. Everyone jump on in. We just showed a video called A Lecture in Law by Mr. The late Mr. John Harris. And it was a lecture on law. People get to know your common law rights, get to know the difference between acts, legislation, civil law and criminal law. There's a difference. Get to know these things and share that knowledge with your children. Yeah? Share the difference. You do not need to be afraid or intimidated today. Knowledge dispels fear. Knowledge dispels ignorance. Get that. So Kevin, we got Kevin Bennett for the third time, part 3. And we're going to bring him in the room immediately. So people, you know what? Get your questions ready because guess what? We got a phone. And you can phone in today. But I just only ask you, please, when you call in with your questions, keep them brief and don't call on withheld. We will not share no data with anyone. You will be on loudspeaker. People will be able to hear you posing your questions. And anything that is not in tune with the discussion, which is 2021 motivation, unfortunately, we're going to have to cut you off. Anything other than that, we can't entertain. We only can entertain the positive stuff. And Kevin, this is our third time with him. So everybody you can call and you can have the floor. So let me just pat out the afro, just bring in Mr. Kevin Bennett again for the first time, part 3. What you saying, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm nice, brother. I'm nice. Thank you, by the grace of God,
Brilliant. Excellent. So how's your week been? How's you been holding up on your side?
Yeah, it's been calm still. I've been doing the things that I want to do. I've written out my goals and I've accomplished my goals. I'm working on I don't want to give away any speak on it too much because I don't believe in speaking on things before it's actually concretized, but I'm working on putting together some documentaries on the behalf of the Black Film Institute. So it's been a good week, grinding. My purpose is this is all about my purpose, brother. So that's what I'm doing. How about yourself?
Yeah, really good on my side. Obviously, we're all in 2021. And for me, I've been building stuff and working with people at this precise time that's solely focused on navigating through the near future and obviously the long distance future as well. Obviously, the world has changed in ways that we've never anticipated. Yeah. And so what we do, we're readjusting systems in order for us to really navigate in this new world. And I guess this is partly what this conversation is about, finding new ways to navigate in a world that we never anticipated. And also as well, the simple fact that I'm a big believer in renegotiating everything, renegotiating with governments, renegotiating with companies, renegotiating with landlords. I'm talking about it's time to renegotiate. And I believe this is what the first quarter should be about. Planning and renegotiation. The next stage would be action and implementation.
Come on.
That's what we should be focused on at the precise time.
I love that, brother. I love that. So, this is what we have to do, and it sounds like you're being proactive. And I just want to briefly recap over the last interviews that we had with yourself, where you spoke about the moon energy, you spoke about tuning in yourself to success, habits which can lift us out of depression, brisk walks, all of these things. Like, I want to recap on that, and also I want us, brother, whatever you want to say that is on your heart, please, the floor is yours, brother. I know you got your Kevin Bennett's Trauma, the book, your course that is coming out. I'd like you to speak on these things so that Black Car Speakers Lounge can get involved in that, brother.
Sure. So I'm right. Well, hopefully I'm gonna be writing. The book's almost finished, probably March, God willing. So the book that I'm writing about is a very unusual approach, but I believe it's an approach that I wanted to definitely take. It's going to be controversial on one side, and the other side is extremely important and fundamental. So I'm not going to name the name of the book yet, but the book firstly looks at working professionals who are going through trauma that the world don't look at, notice, acknowledge, or in a normal day care for. So for example, surgeons has the highest suicide rate. Surgeons are right at the top when it comes to committing suicides. Dentists
Yes,
are up there as well at committing suicides. Nurses have one of the highest depression rates and suicidal thoughts. Social workers have the highest, one of the highest depression rates as well. School
yes,
teachers
sir.
are up there. There's many different areas within the work world and the profession world where people are suffering in silence. Now, the controversial side to this is, for example,
Mm,
surgeons can't express what they're going through, and most working professionals cannot express what they're going through because if they do in many different areas, they'll be penalized for it. So imagine a
mm.
surgeon said, I'm going through depression, and the board found out, he can be taken away from his work.
Wow.
He could be penalized for what he's going through, so he suffers in silence. Dentists, they suffer in silence. Social workers suffer in silence. Nurses suffer in silence. You know, you'd be surprised how long and vast the list is of people, working professionals who have high suicide, depression, and stress rates, who don't say anything because they will be penalized based upon how the system works. So
Yes, sir.
part of the book looks at people that are going through mental and emotional trauma in silence. And then it breaks down different parts of our community and communities as well. And so it looks into that, chapters into the book. And as the book goes on, it starts to go through solutions and provide solutions from suicide to depression and so on and so forth. So from 2008, 2009, this has been my main focus. It's not something new that I've been doing. It's been every
Right.
single day since 2009 that I've been focused on the areas that I'm focused on now. And in that time, I've traveled over 20 countries studying human behavior. In that time, I've read
20
everything I get my
countries.
hands on. Yeah, everything I get my hands on, I read. So even back here, you got from medical books right round to books about neuroscience, the anatomy of the brain. And then I've gone out and done my outreach work. And away from that, I've lectured in universities, I lectured in colleges, um, I've worked with governments, councils, organizations. So it's not nothing new what I'm doing here, but there's always so much more to learn. And so it's an amalgamation of two things that I'm focused on. Is one is the Kevin Bennett's, you can see, I don't know if you can see up here, you've got, it's the wrong way around now, these screens are. But
Yeah.
it's called Kevin Bennett's Trauma, which is a podcast I'll be doing. It's going to be starting in the next 2 weeks or so. And Kevin Bennett's
Right.
Trauma is about it's really, it sounds like it's my trauma per se, but it's not. It's me talking to people that are going through mental and emotional trauma, and they don't know how to normally have that conversation with other people. And so it's a platform where we can talk about stress and trauma, and we look at solutions as well. So it's been my main focus and goal since 2009 to really tackle what's going on. And so happens that 2020 and 21 has been so prevalent when it comes to stress, trauma, suicide, and other types of emotional and psychological traumas as well. And so that's
Brother,
been my main focus.
very good, brother. Very good. And we're going to find out the release, well, the actual date, and we'll push that on our
Sure.
platform. Absolutely. So, brother, trauma. People talk about trauma. And trauma is, as according to the dictionary, psychological trauma is damage to a person's mind as a result of one or more distressing events causing overwhelming amounts of stress that exceed the person's ability to cope or integrate emotions involved, eventually leading to serious long-term negative consequences. Brother, why is it so? Okay, so in the law of attraction, a lot of people know about the secret, the law of attraction. In the law of attraction, there's a saying that says this. The law of attraction is this. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. I'm going to say that again for everybody. And welcome everyone to Black Class Speakers Lounge with Kevin Bennett, part 3. Woo! Yeah. It says here, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are, who we are, who I am. Yeah. So a lot of people out here, you know, I remember 2 weeks ago, you spoke about the full moon energy or the moon cycle and how we should use the moon cycle. Well, a lot of this is very new and may sound spooky to people, but ancient people have always used the moon calendar to attract what they want and to do different things. Sure. You know, and so if we attract who we are and we have trauma, is that a good thing or a bad thing? How can we attract? How can we become the people that we want to be to align to the goal of what we want and what we want to manifest into our lives?
Very powerful question. Okay, I'd have to break it into about 3 areas in order for it to make sense. So let's talk about the trauma first. And what is trauma? Well, you've actually said what is trauma. So trauma is broken up in many different ways. And we have to say emotional trauma because obviously you've got physical traumas as well. We're not talking about physical trauma here, we're talking about emotional trauma. And emotional trauma fits into frequencies. So let me just go back and start from the basics first. Now, first and foremost, stress. We are designed to manage stress, but in short bursts. That's what we are managed to deal with, is short bursts of stress. And the reason why we actually need short bursts of stress, it goes back to the days of hunter-gatherer. And so it goes back to the days when we was hunted by lions and all of those kind of things. And lion will come for us. We have short bursts of stress, which we call adrenaline in the body. It will make us run faster. It will make us do things that we wouldn't normally do on a normal event, or on a normal day. So if you think about it, have you ever jumped over a wall before? You've never believed you could jump because in that moment someone's running after you or you're under some form of pressure or stress, right? So you can do things what you normally can't do when you're stressed, yeah? So it's about survival. Stress is about survival. What's happened over time is that the stress has extended way, fight or flight, exactly. The stress has extended way beyond what the body or the mind can handle. So stress normally should be a matter of hours, but now it's gone into weeks. And so what's happened when it goes into weeks, the body starts to turn into acid. And then you have what you call inflammation. Right, so it turns from alkaline to acid. This is why you'll get that gut feeling. You'll get the feeling in your body and your body starts to tense up. This is the acid in your body starting to build up. This is how people get all different types of early signs of stress problems, ulcers, etc. So what happens when you have stress for a long period of time, you have what you call inflammation on the brain. So a lot of people don't know, when you're stressed too much, you get inflammation on the brain, and the inflammation on the brain is what then causes depression. Now, so it's the gateway to depression, away from it being chemical, is a consistency of stress. So we've got to manage the stress in order for the depression, most of the time, to not then creep into our lives. And then you will have different types of depression. So I hope that answers that part of it. And so we have to really manage stress. Now, if you think about it, in this day and age, we take on stress for all different reasons. For all different reasons. So let's talk about frequency. Now you've got proton frequency. Proton frequency is happy, joy, romance, being content with your life, excitement, play. All of these things are proton frequency. Then you have neutron frequency. Neutron's frequency is a bit like a dimmer switch. Yeah, you can sway from one to another. So you normally get confusion around that place and how am I going to pay my bills? How am I, you know, so how can be good? How can we win? That's positive. Or how can I pay my bills? Now that goes towards the negative. Now the negative is what you call an electron zone. The electron zone is broken up into hate, anger, frustration, doubt, worry, pessimism, jealousy, depression, and sadness, and all these other frequencies. Now, all of these work together, right? So you got protons, electrons, and neutrons that work together. You got others that I don't want to go into. You got quarks and photons and all that, but let's ignore that. And inside of, around the housing of it is an atom. Now, we're all made out of atoms. We're all made out of protons. We're all made out of quarks. We're all made out of electrons. Now, the moon is made out of an atom. God is made out of an atom. The moon,
what's made
the
out
planet.
of the moon?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And this is the reason why we are connected. So when you hear people say we are connected to everything on the planet, on the earth, that is the reason why it's via atoms. So what happens when the moon is changing from one quarter to another, it's using different parts of the atom, a proton part, electron part. So this is when, you know, back in the days you had American Werewolf, right? And there's a full moon of the American Werewolf. It's because the moon was using a certain frequency at that time, which affects human beings. Yeah, so the electron part of human beings. Now, to go even a bit deeper, it's been, a study was taken where hospitals and police stations, they done a test, and they said the times of the full moon, they wanted to see what the emergency rate was like. It went up by 35%. It went up by 35%. So they say on average, around the full moon, the stress rate of the 999 industry actually goes up.
Yeah. Wow. And then we're talking about hospitals being overrun due to COVID-19. And now we're people. Did you know?
I want to pick up Michael Paisley, by the way. CK Flash is on. A major inspiration in the world and in my life as well. So big shout out.
Big up yourself, man. Large up yourself, Mr. CK Flash. And you know, I welcome everyone else on the platform. You're getting some bombs in part 3 with Mr. Kevin Bennett. Do you know what, Kevin? Shall we plug the phone line for anyone that wants to ask any questions on this subject?
Sure. Listen, this session today, you know, or this conversation today, should I say, is fundamentally about how we can, I'm sorry, I'm actually reading messages as we're talking. We can, you know, serve and help people. So I don't want this conversation to just be about us. How can we help someone with their life or their own personal, psychological, emotional, physical life as well?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what the telephone line would be about. So yes, it'll be good to put it forward.
Right, so I'm going to give everyone the number. Listen, people, all I want is for everyone to stay on code with the subject matter at hand. Please, you don't have to do withheld. I won't be giving you no late night calls after hours. I won't be calling you back. Don't worry. It's secure. So I would love to, I'm going to give you, who would like to call in, whoever would like to type in their questions, please add it on the comment section. But we'd love to hear your voice as well. If you want to just type in, that's fine. We want to see and we'd love to hear your questions. But this full moon that we're coming into right now, people, is called the Wolf Moon, W-O-L-F, moon, next week, Thursday. And so what shall we do if we attract who we are and not what we want? Kevin, my man, what do we do to attract what we want? I mean, I know you've answered the question already, but between now, what should we be doing to gear ourselves up to becoming the person who we are? I'm not going to get the phone line in a minute. Go ahead, Kevin.
Sure. So first and foremost, let me put it to you like this. Emotionally, psychologically, we are, spiritually, we are tribal creatures.
Wow.
Okay? We're tribal. We're very tribal. So, for example, the people that are on drugs hang out with people that are on drugs.
Come on.
People that are alcoholics hang around people that are alcoholics. Weed smokers hang around weed smokers. Yeah. Car mechanics hang around with car mechanics. So we're very tribal. Right now, that is on a basic level. Now let's go a bit deeper. Electron people hang around electron people. So you know when they say misery loves company, frequency loves frequency. Yeah. So what happens? Angry people hang around with angry people. This is the reason why bad things happen. Yeah. Happy people hang around happy people. Now there's something that happens with this. What happens now? And inspirational people hang around with inspirational people. And so this is where you kind of get groups of tribes. And if someone doesn't believe me, go on Google right now and type in any interest you have and write forum next to it. So let's say your interest is car mechanics. Type in car mechanics forum and you'll see forums for car mechanics because we're tribes. Type in dog walkers, dog walker forums, and you'll find forums that are with dog walkers. Yeah, so we're very tribal. Now, as I said, spiritually, we're very tribal as well. Emotionally, we're very tribal. So what's happening now is this. We are going through an election time in general. That's what the government, the media, the organizations, and people that understand this science are pushing. They're pushing people into tribes. It's like, you know, like sheep, and the dog knows how to gather the sheep up and get it where it needs to go. So that because the governments understand this science, and it showed signs of this science when the American government used their lighting system. So it will say amber or red for terrorism, and all of a sudden the world, the country becomes tense and paranoid because they've trained the people how to think and behave based upon a coloring system. Yeah. Now, if we go back, what's happening now? They've used mask as a paranoia. It's a trigger, right? And they use all these other different things as a trigger in order to bring people into a state what they want them to bring them into. So they're struggling at the moment because they believe that the vaccine, for example, would bring people into a proton state of hope. And now what's happened is people are skeptical. And so the vaccine is making the majority of people skeptical, and that's not the frequency they want. They need to make an adjustment within frequencies. So now they're using doctors and authority figures in order to give people the confidence to get them to a frequency that they want them to be in. Now, to go back to your question, because we are emotionally and spiritually tribal, going back to your question, at the moment, if you are angry, if you are depressed, if you are frustrated, if you are any of these things, you will only attract what you are because you're in an electron state. Electrons and protons don't hang out together. But I tell you what's very interesting. This is what's interesting. This is the other side of it. Have you ever seen, you know, when you've got a light on and the light is bright? So let's say the bright light, is protons, okay? Because it is, it's a proton. When you switch on the light, it's proton. Lights on, positive, it's proton. But moths will come to bounce against the light. So you open the door, it's dark outside. What do the moths do? And the flies?
They come in.
Right, so they come in. So electrons will try to bounce against the protons because electrons want protons. Protons attract electrons, but electrons, which are negative people, will always go for the light until the light burns out, and then they find another light to go and annoy. So when you're in a proton state, electron people will come for you. When you're in a happy state, negative people will come for you until you become negative, and then they're finished with you. Then they go on to the next. It's even biblical as well.
Spiritual vampires.
Right, spiritual vampires. So it's even biblical as well. They talk about the devil will come for you in times of you being in a proton positive place. The devil will use things to try and attract you and come for you and get you and so on and so forth. So even in that sense, biblically, spiritually, scientifically, when you are in a proton state, you will attract other protons, but the electrons will come for you.
Yes.
Which are the negative ones. So
that's the
in order for you to attract other protons, you have to become a proton first.
How do we become protons, Bruce? And people, I just want to let you know, if you want to call in with your questions, brief questions on this subject matter, or anything to do with trauma, you know, if you want answers entertained, please call this number. We'll put you on the loudspeaker. And if you don't want to be put on loudspeaker, just put your questions in the comment section. But our number is 07438 512 508. I repeat, I've already put it in the comment section. 07438 512 508. One more time. 07438 512 508. It's in the comment section. Give us a call. Come on and talk to your boy, man. Kevin's here. I'll put you on the loudspeaker. Keep it brief. Keep it on code and point. Let's go, man. Want to make it about the people today. I love what you're talking about in terms of protons. They make movies about this all the time. And this is why, Kevin, I don't like watching, and I know we've said this already. I really don't want, I don't use that word. I don't like watching anything to do with police killing people or anything negative, too much of the news. I don't like watching that because I've realized this week more and more, we are what we eat. And what we eat is we're eating with our ears and our eyes. And if we are what we eat, we become what we eat, and you attract who you are, not what you are. So if I'm constantly watching drama on television, for example, where people are beefing all the time, then obviously it's going to be a thing. Horror, yeah, I love horror movies. I gotta confess, I love horror movies, man. Someone said horror. But you know what? There's a part of me that knows, and I know the subconscious mind can't distinguish between reality or fiction. But I love horror movies.
That's true.
I do. I love horror movies. And you were saying, Kevin, a few days ago, that music has a way, coupled with the scenes that you see on television, the music has a way of allowing that imagery and that message getting into your brain. You were saying that it's great to study with classical music because music opens up parts of your mind, your brain, to allow information to come in. That's why when you watch great movies, X-Men, Avengers, there's always that music, dramatic music going on in the background. You know, because you get immersed into what is going on, to what the actors are doing on screen. But yeah,
it's very interesting that you say that, right? So what happens? Even chanting, etc., opens parts of your brain that no other thing can open up. And so I give you guys a challenge. It's going to be very interesting. So now you know that they've introduced the sounds of crowds and cheering in football. Right?
Yeah.
And when you're watching Sky, you've got the option to turn off the crowds and the chanting and just hear the football itself.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. Yes, I believe it's Sky. Maybe normal TV as well. I'm not actually sure, but I know I saw it on Sky. Now, there's a test for you. Watch it with the crowds and see how it changes the chemistry of your anxiety if someone's going to miss a goal or not. And then press the red button, I believe, and watch it without the crowd and see how much your body doesn't react. So chanting on every different level and singing and music, etc., it has an effect on the chemistry of your behavior, but also on your moods and your emotions as well.
And that's why gospel music is powerful in the church, because the gospel music, or the gospel music with the preaching is very powerful. It's very powerful. I notice it has an effect on the congregation of that church. You know, people get really immersed or emoted into the sermon because the gospel music is going on. People, if you want to call in, I'm going to give you the number again. I'm going to give you that number again. because you know what?
Sorry,
It'd
I'm
be
actually
great to hear
looking for
from
something
people.
while I'm talking to you.
Huh? Yeah,
No,
it's
go
oh
ahead. I'm
07.
listening.
Yes, sir. 07 438 512508. 07 438. One gone out. Yeah, 512508. Call in and put your questions forward. Yeah, I love gospel music as well. I love gospel music. So, Kevin, so as we move on into this year, brother, I want you to, what are the steps for us to get to where we need to be in this full moon energy, in this full moon as it's approaching us? What are the steps that people need to take to get what they want, to get the roles that they want as actors, to get the job that they want, to get the partner they want, or whatever it is? What are the steps, brother? And I'd like you to respond. And I've already put the number in the messages, my bro. It's already there. It's already there. Oh, seven. I'll give it to you. I'll put it on again. Yeah. Okay. Oh, 07. Oh, pin the number. Okay. Pin the number. Pin the number. Okay. 07438 512 508. 07438 512 508. Go ahead, Kevin.
Sure. So it's broken up into different.
To the left here. Carry on, brother.
Sure. So it's broken up into different areas. First and foremost, we have to first and foremost work on ourselves. We need to get ourselves what you call in a proton state. See, no matter what you do in life, if you're in an electron state, you're only going to first and foremost attract more electron states. And if you are achieving within electron state, you will enjoy what you have. This is the reason why you had the comedian, is it Robbie Williams? Robin Williams? He committed suicide. With all the things he had in life and all the achievements, he committed suicide. Because even though he was achieving, he was in an electron state. And so you have so many people out there who are in an electron state, even though they're achieving. And so the worst thing that you want in your life is to be successful and negative. If you're a drinker, you're going to drink more. If you dabble in drugs, you're going to dabble more.
Sorry, 1 second, Kevin. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Hello, you're live to Black Car Speakers Lounge. Who's speaking? Is who? Marie. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you, Prophet?
I am very good, Marie. Sorry, can everyone hear?
Not too well.
Okay, I
if
will
you can
read the
relate it
question
back,
anyway.
okay.
Go ahead.
You can relate it back.
Okay, so let me just rephrase the question. So you're saying is how can we get that positive energy by being on the inside due to lockdown? Is that what you're saying, Marie? So Kevin, the question for Marie is, how can we extract that positive energy even though we're under lockdown? And you know what, funny enough, I was playing something to do with a lecture by the law. I was playing a clip called A Lecture by the Law by John Harris regarding the difference between law and acts. And somebody even posted earlier that we are all living under the one law in terms of the moon energy, the universal energy. But yeah, Kevin, that's the question from Marie.
Is Marie on at the moment? Is Marie on at the moment?
Are you online? You're online right now, Marie, yeah? Okay, well, please jump back onto the live so Kevin can entertain that question.
Yeah, let me just ask. Let's just talk to Marie a second. Tell me about.
Sorry, don't go, Marie. Don't go.
let's do something in real time. So first and foremost, some questions I'd like to ask Maria, probably if you can reiterate it back to her. First and foremost, what does she do when she...
Hello? She's online anyway. She can hear. Go ahead.
Sure. Okay. So I'll change it another way because I was going to answer some questions, but I'll do it another way around. So, right. First and foremost, we need to identify where you are. Yeah, it's very important to identify where you are. So there's 25 different scales of emotions, and we need to identify what emotion you're experiencing. So if everyone could, or Maria or someone could grab a pen and paper first, and then we can do something just very quickly.
Yes. So grab a pen and paper.
Yeah,
grab a pen and paper, people.
Because I don't want to just talk about it in theory. I would like people to kind of deal with whatever it is that they need to deal with.
I'm telling everyone else to grab a pen and paper, and I ain't got that pen and paper. Let me go and get one.
Sure.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, shall I start?
Yes, sir. You know what, brother? Is it all right if I use digital, use the laptop-y?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so in order for us to, what there's a saying, what gets measured gets managed. If you can measure it, you can manage it. Yeah. So if I just talk about what needs to be done in general, it's general, and not everyone is general. Yeah. So let's identify, let's break it all down, and maybe someone could put in the chat box where they are. Okay. So be honest, be totally honest with yourself. Okay. And we're going to start from 25. Number 25. Are you depressed? Yeah. 24. Are you feeling ashamed? Yeah. Number 23. Are you feeling guilty about something? Is there guilt in your life? Number 22. Apathy. Number 21. Sorry?
We've got another call.
Yeah, let's go through this.
Yeah, we'll go through that. Go ahead.
Number 21. Grief. Did I say 21? Where are we?
You said 22, 24. Person is calling me.
So number 20. So
we're going to go through this part here, but please call us back in the next 2 minutes. Kevin, carry on, sir.
Number 20, grief. Are you grieving about something? And grief doesn't always mean death. It could be break up of a relationship, break up in a situation. Grief is not always death. And so most people think grief is death. It's not just death. Yeah? Number 19, are you feeling insecure? Number 18, are you having anxiety? Number 17, are you feeling fear? What number? Sorry, I'm going through my head while I'm doing it.
Number 18.
Okay, so number 17, are you feeling lonely? Number 16, are you feeling sad? Number 15, are you feeling worry? Number 14, is there a level of jealousy in your life? Be honest, jealousy is a serious thing. Yeah, and it eats you up alive.
Envy or jealousy?
I would say jealousy.
Right.
Yeah, I would say jealousy. Sorry, I've got to do the numbers in my head. So
17, 18. Yeah.
Where are we? 18 or 17?
17, I believe. People, 17,
okay.
Right? Sweatstorm, please call us back after we've done the list. Please, sir. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, because I'm doing off the top of my head mostly. Number 16, are you angry? 15, are you feeling disheartened? Oops, it says 16. What one's 16? Sorry.
Thanks, Tash.
Okay, listen, you guys will work out the numbers because it's 25 anyway, yeah? 14, are you feeling a level of doubt in your life? Yeah? 13, 13, do you feel disappointment? Are you disappointed in yourself or others or whatever? Yeah. 12, are you frustrated? Now, frustration is a very dangerous thing. It's actually the gateway to the electron zone. Yeah. What number am I? 12?
Yeah, 12. You know,
Sorry,
when
I'm doing the top of my head.
yeah.
Yeah. So 12, are you feeling overwhelmed? 11, boredom. Boredom is extremely dangerous. Boredom is actually the opposite of happiness.
Yeah.
It's not sadness, it's actually boredom. Yeah. As I said, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, guys. So I'm off in my numbers.
13, boredom.
Oh, so it said 16 is sad. So 16. Sorry, I'm going to work it out now.
I think what Mark was saying, she is identifying with what you said.
Oh, because I'm seeing 16 here saying sad.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the numbers, guys. You work out the numbers in a bit, yeah? Because I'm going to get the numbers because I'm doing it at the top of my head. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Boredom. 2021, 20, boredom. So boredom. Next to boredom is hope. Yeah. Now you're going into more of a proton state. Hope. Yeah. And then next to hope is feeling content with your life or your situation. And after content is positive. After positive is happy. And after happy is feeling self-love, feeling loved. So that's 25. So just put the numbers together. So if I got the numbers wrong, start from the top and just write it all back down again till you get to number 1, which is loved. So self-love, love in general. Now here's the thing, but there's a science to this which I've got to explain. Every single emotion is designed to give you a message, but then no emotion is designed to stay. So happiness is not designed to stay. Emotions are a pendulum.
Come on.
Now, here's the thing, right? You could be in a happy state right now and someone call you up and give you bad news. If you remain happy, you're not psychologically right. So emotions are designed to stay, but you need to have a toolbox, which I call a toolbox when I work with my clients. You need to have a toolbox to help you get from one emotion to another. Now, if you're depressed, let me ask you a question. What is better than depression? What should you strive for if you are depressed? What should you strive for?
What you should strive for is answers to your depression?
No, but I mean, what emotion, sorry. What emotion should you strive for if you're...
Happiness or to be elated, to feel elated?
Well, here's the thing. It depends on what level of depression you are, because there's different types of depression. But to be honest with you, what you should be striving for if you're depressed is at least anger. At least.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because for those of us who've been depressed in our life, we know that depression debilitates you. You're stuck in bed, you can't move, you can't function, you can't think, you can't communicate, you can't recognize. Depression debilitates you. So if you are at least angry, angry causes action. So if you got a boxing bag, you'll punch it through anger. You would run through anger. You will talk through anger. So anger is actually better than depression. Because here's the thing, if you jump from depression to happiness, what do you call that scientifically?
Bipolar?
Bipolar. So only people that are bipolar jump from depression to anger. Other people, you have to go through the stages of emotions. It may be quick, it may be fast. So where most people go wrong is when they're depressed, they become more frustrated. Frustrated, once again, can be a paralyzer. They get frustrated because they want happiness. But happiness is too far away from depression. And so when you see, so for example, and I don't want to disrespect anyone online, but I see what happens online because I study the anatomy of the brain and human behavior. So for example, when I see a lot of lot of girls, for example, who look absolutely amazing online, you know, they're fit, they're sexy, all this, they look amazing online, for example, and you see them always doing training videos and sit-ups and press-ups and all of that. The reason why they got to that place, not all, but most, the reason why most of them got to that place, because they were going through depression and they needed something to help them. And so what they done, they started to train. And so because they started to train, what's happened is the training is what the world sees, even though internally they're still going through an electron state, but the training helped them with their depression. So a lot of times online, girls are looking at guys with envy, girls are looking at women with that same kind of envy stroke desire to be with her or sleep with her or whatever it may be, but they don't understand that what they're seeing comes from a trauma that that person may not have dealt with yet. So this is why we live in such a state online where we're desiring people from a looks perspective, but we're not looking at their frequency. So a lot of people online are showing so much because they're suffering in silence.
Wow. Oh my God. Brother, you know what? That is so on point, and we got a text, I'm going to read it out. Endorphins, that's right, Sweatstorm. You know what? I've read, brother, what you said was so on point. Brother, do you know that they done a study? And I'm not putting women down when I say this, like, I'm not trying to single women out, but I'm using women as the example. They done a study, brother, and they said that when a female receives, when a human being, anyone, male or female, receives likes for a picture that they post out or something, it gives them a rush, and the endorphins are released just from likes from a post of a picture, or a post of them doing squats, or a post of them doing some kind of training exercise. For me personally, brother, it's like a lot of people say it's likened onto, I want to use the right word. Okay, let's look at the medical drug cocaine. Cocaine is not the cocaine that's giving people the high. The cocaine is triggering off the natural chemical releases in your brain. And sex does the same thing, and validation and liking someone does the same thing. They did a study on it.
Well, what you're saying,
social media. Go ahead.
Well, it's very important what you're saying, because social media, I keep on explaining to people, Mark Zuckerberg and all these people, they're not entrepreneurs, they're scientists. They're scientists. And a scientist understands the chemical and the psychological behavior of human beings. True marketers are scientists. They're not marketers, they're scientists. Now, let me break this down and explain it. When social media first started, go back how long you want to go back, right? Look at the first pictures when social media first started. People are putting up a passport picture.
High five and MySpace.
Right, yeah? So people are putting up like a passport style picture. And so what happens, the trigger effect. And I'm going to explain about the riots in 2011 that done the exact same thing. So it's important that we understand this. So you put up a passport picture went up, right? And people was like, okay, this is nice. And there weren't really likes in that sense at that time, but there was like a level, right? So it's like, okay, that's a nice passport style picture. And then, you know, one girl said to herself, do you know what? I'm going to put up a picture with me, with my hair out, okay? This is my hair out when I go clubbing. And so all of a sudden, people looked and said, I really like the picture with your hair out when you go clubbing. They didn't articulate it that way, but that was the thought process. So then they gave her credit for it. Then the other girl looked in and said, oh my gosh, why is she getting so much recognition? She didn't say it in that way, it's subconscious. So then she took a picture, maybe in a wet t-shirt. And all of a sudden people looked at her and said, I like that, I want that. So all of a sudden they like that picture because the wet t-shirt. Then another girl said, look at the credibility she's getting. So I'm now going to take a picture in a tight top. And as the years went on, it went from a passport picture to now girls pretty much being naked online. And I don't put on girls, but guys as well, yeah, in their own way. So what's happened over time? Right, so so it's called emotional prostitution. So what's happened now,
Oh,
emotionally, people now are prostituting themselves because they endorphins, etc. They have a desire to be liked. So it's an online currency. So you're not getting paid for it. The payment is a like. It's an online currency. So now people, what they're doing is now prostituting themselves in the name of an online currency. So now what's happening is so think about it, right? People are spending money just to take pictures. I'm going to do a photo shoot and it's going to cost me £500 because I need more recognition that I am worthy and credible. Oh my gosh, I'm going to buy a car because I need more worthy that I am I need to be worthy internally, but I need the recognition externally. And so what's happening now, we're doing all different things as human beings to now become more credible online, but it actually means nothing in the grand scheme of things, which is now causing depression. Because when you seek more and there's nothing at the end of the rainbow, that's what brings people into a darker place of depression, because they've given everything of themselves.
people, pause, people. Are you listening? Are you listening? You're locked into Kevin Bennett, Courtney Winston, your host. Our guest today, Kevin Bennett, part 3. Are you listening, people? It's like chasing the dragon, I would say. Chasing the dragon, which goes back to, which is another way of describing the crack pipe and so forth. It's drugs that we are on. And you said that the social media people that own social media are scientists, my guy.
They're all scientists. Proper marketers are scientists. Proper marketers, and I sat down with some of the best of them, and I've taught some of the best of them. And they don't ask marketing questions. They ask questions on the anatomy of the brain. That's what true scientists talk about. They don't talk about marketing, because here's the thing. You've got tactics, yeah? You've got tactics, and then you've got strategy, okay? So we've got to identify the two. When you read books like Art of War, right? The Art of War doesn't talk about tactics. They talk about strategy. Now, what's in between a tactic and a strategy?
Good. Wait. People, as Kevin goes in, I want you to know you need to follow, like, subscribe for my own personal narcissism to Black Film Institute YouTube. Not my own narcissism, really, but I'm about information and knowledge giving. I had to pause Kevin there. You're locked in. Stay locked in on this Sunday snow gone now. This Sunday evening to get ready for your week. Kevin, go ahead. It's all yours.
Okay, so what you've got tactics and you've got strategy. Now, when you listen to like the Bible, and when you listen to the Art of War, they're all very similar. Yeah. They are books on science, and they are books on strategy. Okay. Now let's go into it a bit more. Tactics are weapons, and they die, and tactics die in time. Yeah. So for example, once upon a time they were using bow and arrows. Now you can't bring a bow and arrow to a machine gun fight now. Yeah.
The Art of War.
Sure.
Sorry.
So yeah. So what happens is when you are talking about tactics, you're talking about the weaponry. Weapons change over time. But when you talk about strategy, strategies last forever. They're a lifetime. So true powerful people talk about strategy. So even though Art of War is based upon the dynasties, Fifth Dynasty and all these different dynasties, whatever, the book is timeless, because the book is based upon strategy and not tactics. Now, anytime you hear someone talk about tactics, that book or that person will fade within time. Anytime you hear people talk about strategy, it's timeless. So when you hear Jesus talk about strategic things, or Mahatma Gandhi talk about strategic things, or the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, talk about strategic things, they are timeless. And that's the reason why these books and these people last forever, because they talk about strategy and not tactics.
Jeez. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. an ancient
Sounds good.
Chinese
Sounds good.
military
Take away
treatise
the feet.
dating from the late spring autumn period, roughly 5th century BC. The work is attributed towards ancient Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu. And Wesley Snipes made a movie on it called, well, not on the book exactly, but the title, The Art of War, alluding to the book.
Sure.
Go ahead, brother. So strategy is different.
Focus on strategy, sorry, and not tactics. Tactics will come with the weaponry you need at the time, but don't focus on it.
So we should focus on strategy.
Yes, always. You have to be strategic with your personal life, strategic with your business life, be strategic with your emotions, be strategic with your spirituality. It's all strategy.
And let's look at the definition of strategy. A plan of action, designed to achieve a long-term overall aim. I'm going to say it again, a plan of action, So it's not just a plan, it's a plan of action, people. See, a lot of people write stuff, no. A plan of action designed to achieve long-term overall aim. And you know what? That's deep because, and it goes on, the art of planning, directing overall military operations and movement. People, we're at war. Am I right to say that, Kevin? That we are at war for our sanity. We're at war for our spirits and our souls and our minds. We're at war for our own economics, our own mental health. We are at war. So what you're saying is here, Kevin, is that we need a strategy to come out of depression and avoid depression, to avoid sadness, to avoid all these things that could place us into the sunken place. We need a strategy. Is that,
well, yes and no. Let me explain something which is very important. This is what destroys most minds and most people as well. Every single emotion was given to us from God for a reason. And so we need to be more pensive about what we're going through when it's happening, because it's there to teach us a lesson. So if we start denying the lessons that are being taught to us in real time, that's what causes more pain in our life. So for example, if someone who I love died, for a short period of time, I may be depressed. And so I need to embrace what I'm going through at that time, but I have to also accept and recognize that this depression, what I'm going through, is only designed to be short term, and it's not who I am, it's what I'm experiencing. And so there's a major difference between who you are and what you're experiencing. You're allowed to experience, but you're not allowed to take on an emotion to say, this is who I am. So when someone says to you, for example, what's going on? They say, I am, the great I am is the most powerful two words on the planet. I am depressed. I am angry. That means that you are taking that on as a part of your persona. So when someone says, I am a bad boy, you die that way. When someone says, I am weak, you live that way. When someone says, I am depressed, you become the product of the emotion you are living in, and you end up being with the same people, being in the same relationship, and hanging out with the same people of the emotion that you say you are.
I don't see no fire signals. I want to see some fire in this place. Me say we want to see some fire, 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 fire. Yo, 100% in it, Sabs. Yo, 100% in it. My God, what you just said there, I am an exponent of that. I always use my previous relationships as an example. I had to, see it there? Fire, where I said, unique now, UK, big up. I use my relationships as an example. I couldn't stay in this relationship because I was trying to fix someone that wasn't listening. And I had to remove my ego. Ego is the thing I want to talk about today, Kevin. I had to remove my ego and my whole being out of that situation. Because I kept saying to said individual, obviously I don't need to name, I kept saying to my ex, look, you can't keep saying you're sick or you're down. You can't keep having conversations with your girlfriends about how it's not going right with their relationships. You can't keep watching certain things on the we just separated. Our frequencies just became different. You know,
Do you
and
mind,
the thing is,
do you mind if I say something to you respectfully?
yes, sir.
Be honest with yourself, yeah?
Yes, sir.
I always say this when I'm doing my sessions.
This was years
When
ago, by
you,
the way, people. God.
when you met her, what was you experiencing at that time?
That year, what I was experiencing at that time, I was feeling very, I would say I could use the not inadequate. I was feeling much on my own. Naturally, I wanted female company. I I gotta confess, brother, it taught me a lesson. It taught me who I'm not and how far my standards came down.
Well, let me just,
With all due
let,
respect to the sister,
no, no,
I know. Go ahead.
let me explain what happened there. In order for you to recognize her, in order for her to recognize you, you're both bouncing at the same frequency when you first met.
That's
So
right.
you was feeling what she was feeling, or you was both in
Yeah.
electron frequency. So at the time, you felt, I can finish off the emotions. At the time, you felt, as you said, lonely. You felt,
Yeah, I was feeling that, you know what, yeah, I could deal with, a bit of female company, that kind of thing.
yeah.
At the time, I wasn't in my own place. I wanted to get away from my family as well. It was convenient. It was convenient for me
So you're
because,
feeling doubt, you're feeling worry.
go ahead. Yes,
Yeah. Okay. So you're feeling doubt, you're feeling worried, you're feeling uncomfortable, and you're feeling frustrated.
bingo.
Yeah.
Absolutely, brother.
Right. So when you met her, she was matching that same frequency. And
That's
so what happened when you moved out of the electron frequency and you started to move into a neutron stroke proton, you didn't recognize each other anymore. You was out of frequency.
yes,
And
yes,
that's
sir.
when you started to break apart, because she remained in a frequency that you met her in, and then you adjusted your frequency over time doing whatever you needed to do. And then all of a sudden you didn't recognize her and she didn't recognize you. Not because she wasn't fit and you wasn't good looking, or she wasn't good looking and you wasn't fit. Whatever it is that people see, frequency wise, you didn't recognize each other anymore. So then that's when the process started, where you didn't understand why you should be there and who she was, and she felt the same, but she felt probably more needy on you because the moth always recognizes the light. And so what
People.
happened is there was a disconnect, but there was also a wanting involved as well. But it just wouldn't work because you adjusted frequency. The only way the relationship would have worked is if you dropped that down into frequency or she climbed up into frequency. The problem is, if she climbed up into frequency, the friends that she was entertaining, she would have to lose them behind.
Brother.
And so what happened, I guess, in your relationship was that then you all started to have a conflict about whose friends is who and what they're doing to your relationship. Is that correct?
And I've got to you're correct 100%, brother. And I've got to make a confession. When I was in that relationship, I was in it for the wrong reasons, because I was in it because I felt sorry for her. And
Well,
that's not to be
no.
arrogant. I was more pity. It was more of a, if I leave you, that, bruv, it wasn't a good place. It wasn't a good place, but I
But
learned a lot.
what it was, she was your therapy. She was your therapy. Because remember, as human beings need contrast. In order to know up, you must know down. In order to know left, you must know right. In order to know
Yeah.
darkness, you know. So she was your therapy because she was a good contrast on you looking at yourself and feeling better about yourself. So while serving her, you was feeling better about yourself until she didn't serve that itch for you anymore.
Literally, that itch. Woo! Yeah, that's exactly what it was. 100%, brother. And I, as a result, one thing with me, because we're talking about you attract who you are, not necessarily what you want, and how do
Yeah.
we attract the things that we really want. And brother, when I made the choice, and I find choice is one of the most powerfulest things. When I made that choice to make certain movements, and she was very good in a lot of ways. I'm not bad mouthing. I would never do that. I take responsibility over what I attract. I had a conversation with a group of sisters, and I had to say it straight. We attract what we are. We can no longer keep pointing the finger out and saying, well, he or she. No, we have to take the onus and responsibility. And I really do believe, I'm a firm believer in you attract what you are. And it's important to feed on the things what you want, to become what you want to become, to attract what you want.
That's
And
correct.
I tell you what, brother, the more I started to feed on my positive frame, and the more she, for example, and I'm only using her as an example, just was in that place, be it grief on something or the loss of someone, we just separated, brother. No matter how much I wanted to encourage her. And sisters, by the way, some of you in some relationships with some dudes, and you think you can fix him, I've got bad news for you and good news. You're never going to fix him. You're not going to fix him. Give up on fixing him and fix yourselves. Because you're trying to fix him, and you're, in a lot of ways, you're bringing yourself down. And in his own time, he will go up, but you've got to stay up. You know, and I say this specifically to women because I hear a lot of talk about, well, we're tired of fixing men. We don't want to, we don't, who says we need, no, don't, you can't fix us. You can't fix us. Forget trying to fix us. Fix you by commanding the frequency that you want. Three of your own fingers are pointed back at yourself. Absolutely, Mr. Sweatstorm. And let me, on that note, read a question that we've been getting messages on.
Sure.
Question for Kevin. Does the full moon has any association with Mercury retrograde? A lot of people don't know about this. Does the full moon, and I think that's from Sweatstorm, does the full moon has any association with Mercury retrograde? Yeah, Sweatstorm.
Man, that's a very, 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 very powerful question. You have to have a certain level of awareness to know what is being said right now. First and foremost, right, every planet has a part, and every part of a planet has a part in our lives. Very fundamental. Let me say something. I'm going to have a very deep conversation with you now.
Yay!
Because we're going there. And
come on, people, you tuned in.
This conversation goes very deep when I speak to some very extremely powerful people. And it's funny because when I talk to these people about some of these things, they say they never talk about it in public for the fear of being chastised and so on and so forth. So, you know, when they talk about a science man, right? Another word for a science man is an obia man. Yeah? Why do they call obia man a science man? Because he understands the science of the planets. Yeah? That's another word for obia man, isn't it? Yeah? Or a juju man, or whatever you want to call him. But the actual term of these people, they are science men. That means they understand the science. Okay? Now, with that said, the good question to ask after that is, the science of what? It's the science of the planets and the science of frequencies. Yeah? Now, you have different planets. Now, I'm going very deep here, and it's going to go over a lot of people's heads, and it's fine because it's a question posed. You have a lot of planets, right? But you have, when it comes to spirituality, governing the world around us, you have certain fundamental planets that control our daily moods and behavior. And I'm going to probably get some of them wrong here because sometimes I don't talk about it for so long, I get it a bit upside down. So you've got the moon. The moon is Monday. That's why they call it Moon's Day, Monday. Yeah.
Teach.
Right? Now, the moon has a special power for Monday. It works in a certain type of way for Monday. So science men will say, Monday, I'm going to perform whatever I'm going to perform because that's the day of the moon. Yeah?
Wow.
And the moon has a certain type of power, has a certain type of energy, and it has a certain job. Now, I'm going to go a bit deeper before we get to the other planets. As I said, I've never spoken about this online before, ever. Only based on the question. And so I'm going there a little bit. Now, let's break down the science. There's 364 days in a year, right? Why and how? And there's only 28 days in a month. Why and how? The moon breaks up into 4 quarters. Yeah? We all can agree on that. New moon, and there's a certain thing you do around new moon.
Teach.
First quarter, there's certain things you do around first quarter. Last quarter, there's certain things you do around last quarter. Full moon, there's certain things you do around full moon. Each quarter of the moon is about 7 days. 7 days new moon. 7 days first quarter, 2 7s is 14. 7 days is last quarter, 3 7s is 21. 7 days is full moon, 4 7s is 28. It's only 28 days in a month. Yeah, forget about 30 days and 31 days. It doesn't exist. That was a trick back then to do 2 things. 1, stop people from being spiritually stronger, and 2, control light. That was the 2 reasons why the government's brought it in. Okay, so each day has a different planet that controls it.
Wow.
Right? Each day. And if you listen to the days of the week, they all have something common. Okay? So you got moon. Right. Then Wednesday, to answer your question, Wednesdays is Saturn. Sorry.
No,
Wednesday is Mercury. Wednesday is Mercury, the planet of Mercury. Yeah? Thursdays, for example, is Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Yeah? Jupiter. Saturdays, listen to the word, Saturdays is Saturn, the planet of Saturn. Sundays is the sun, right? So people who understand the science do certain things at certain days, but it gets even deeper here. Then, this is where it goes deeper for most people. Then you have different angels that rotate at different hours around the day. Michael, Zikel, and so on and so forth. Each angel. So you remember there's a saying, mind how you keep your face because it may stay that way with the wind blows or whatever. That was another way of saying, be careful what frequency you're asking for based on what angel is rotating at that time.
Wow.
So each angel has a different role on a different day on a different planet. And so some people's gonna be like, this is foolishness and all the rest of it. As I said, it'll go over most people's heads, and other people would understand it and get it. Yeah? So you have a day, you have a planet, you have an angel. When you get them all together correctly, you would know when to go to war, when not to go to war. When to pray about certain things, when not to pray. When to do business, when not to do business. When to chill out and relax, and when not to chill out and relax. Because if you're in a time of a full moon and you're around Zikel or Mikel, that's war. And then what happens is certain levels of things that people use, candles and colors and incense, because they all connect together, which I'm not even going to go into because that goes even deeper into the rabbit hole, which I won't even talk about at this precise time. Yeah. But as I said, when you understand science men, they understand this level of science. Right? When you talk to very extremely powerful people on this planet, they understand is science. It goes onto a new realm. Most things for most people who understand this science is not an accident. It's a lot deeper. So when we're in kind of jump trivial land, we're not realizing that there's people around us that's governing forces. So when you're talking about Elon Musk, yeah, and they're sending certain things to the moon, it takes a certain scientist. That's what I'm trying to say to you. These people are scientists. When Mark Zuckerberg are doing certain things, it's not based upon that he's a smart dude. There's scientists. There's scientists on a spiritual level, and there's scientists on a biological neuroscience level. There's scientists. These things are not accidents. But we were the ones that originally understood it. We were the Egyptians who understood it. And what do they do? Yeah, we gave that power up. Yeah, we gave that power up. We don't understand it. So even when people talk about God, and when they talk about God, God in the image of God, God is a proton. God is an electron. God is a neutron. God is an atom. So when they say I am of and from God, it's because you are of and from the frequency of an atom and a proton and an electron and a neutron and a photon and a quark. And it goes on. You are those things because you are of and from God. So when these people are changing the frequency of the sky and changing the frequency and making things rain and all of that, it's because they're scientists and they know how to adjust things in the planet for the planet to do what other people could never begin to understand. So guess what? That's why when you see me back here and I'm studying the anatomy of the brain, I'm not just studying it because I'm looking at the amygdala or I'm looking at all these different parts. I'm understanding the science. All these books here are science books. And I've got books over there that are science books. And even though it may, on the cover of these books, they may look like you're talking about inflammation of the brain. But when you understand what inflammation is about, you understand that inflammation is a science.
Information or inflammation? Sorry.
Inflammation. Yes. It's all science. It's all science. And when you understand the science, you can work out and predict almost every single thing that is happening on this planet today. So guess what? I'm not the smartest man on the planet, but I can tell you this now, because I understand the science of most things, I can pretty much predict to a 97% success rate of what people are going through, what they're about to go through, what they're going to do next, and so on and so forth. So even when people declared war on me, and even now, people's always going to declare war on me for different reasons, because it's a science. And when you understand the science of people, you'll understand what they're going to do next, how they're going to do it, why they're going to do it, and so on and so forth. And when the government's going to do things, you understand it from a scientific perspective. If you look at it from a tactics perspective, you're always going to be in the wrong place. Floyd Mayweather as a boxer is a scientist. Yeah, Khabib as a wrestler, as a fighter, as a wrestler is a scientist. When you used to hear Bruce Lee talk about fighting, he never spoke about it from a tactic perspective. He spoke about it like it was a science. The most powerful people on this planet, historically and future, would always be a scientist that use their science connected to strategy.
Bingo! Absolutely right, brother. And this is why when you see film, and I always say this, every art or work of fiction. Hey, everyone, come on, give up a fire signal for Kevin. Come on, man. God bless it. We don't say God damn it here. We say God bless it. Fire signal for Kevin and what he just said there, man. I hope everyone took notes of that. And I'm saying this, Kevin, to every degree of fiction, I'm trying not to shout again. There's a work of fact, science fact. They call it science fiction, but it's really science fact. I.e., when you watch Marvel films, the superheroes, they're doctors, scientists. Fantastic Four, scientists.
X-Men.
Bruce Banner, David Banner, scientists. Tony Stark, Iron Man, he was an inventor, but a scientist in his own right. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, scientist. Superman, his dad, Kal-El, was it Jor-El? Jor-El was a scientist from Krypton, sent his son to Earth
There
to
you go.
study
Now,
science. By the way, Superman is based off Jesse Owens, the Olympics, Berlin Olympics, 1936. People go and Google that. I can go on and on and on. The X-Men, Xavier, scientist.
and you know what, right? If you look, and you're going to know these people by simple things they do, yeah? And it's so funny. I've got to laugh about this. It's so funny. When I've tried to teach my people this over time, our community, the amount of fight I've got over time, because I've been trying to teach people in very bite-sized ways about how to become more powerful. And it's funny, very powerful people told me, Kevin, it's a bit like Salem's Lot and all of those things back in the days. When you turn around and you start teaching certain people things, they're going to crucify you. And at that time, I was like, no, man, I'm teaching my people stuff. And when I did, the crucifixion started in real time. Yeah.
Wow.
So, right. So here's my point why I say that. You're going to know a scientist by certain things. You see, when you watch the news, there are certain people on the news, certain presenters, I can't remember his name, a grey hair tall man, white man, grey hair, is very tall, right? And when I'm watching,
Jon Snow,
yes, it could be John. No, it could be him. I think it could be him. When you watch him, right? True scientists know what colors to wear on a daily basis, what colors to wear when they go into meetings, what colors to wear if they're going to war, what colors to wear to persuade the world. So you'll see a man wearing a nice basic suit, but then they've got purple, orange, bizarre, bright socks, because it's a frequency. Colors carry frequencies. So a lot of these powerful people in the Middle East, you see them wearing white. It ain't just for the sake of the sun and all of that. It's because they know what frequencies to wear when to do certain things. Why is it that most people wear black when they go to funerals? Like, if anyone ever asks themselves them questions, it ain't just because of fashion, it's because of science. And so when you wear certain colors, you could be wearing certain colors based upon a science. So I've worn certain colors before, and you know, people in my community said, what are you wearing them socks for, man? You're some batty, man. Or, what are you wearing them socks for, man? You can't dress. Listen, the true science world don't care about fashion. They care about science.
Come on.
Yeah? They care about science. The true scientists care about science, not fashion. And so you may be wearing, I'm wearing this color for a reason. Yeah? This color, right. So I'm wearing this color for a reason, because I look at things from a scientific perspective. Now, another person may look at this and say, no, man, do you know what? That top looks a bit gay. Good for you.
You look like a nerd. Yeah, all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Good for you, because we're in two different places here. You're looking at things from an ignoramus point of view, and I'm looking at things from a scientist perspective.
Come on, Kevin.
So we're in two different places here.
So, question, brother, real quick, let me interject. I heard this before, and they say that when you're at home, you should always wear light colors. You should always wear light colors, and you should always burn, for the best of the time that you're at home, is candlelight, other than artificial lights, you know, because it has a different effect on the eyes, especially people who are of melanin, as we are. But they say you should wear light colors at home because it lifts your mood. We're talking about overcoming certain things. So frequency, in fact, science, fashion is science. Even when you go back to watching Black Panther, Wakanda, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, you will find that when Chadwick entered into the spiritual realm, the prominent colors in Black Panther, the prominent color, I should say, is purple and indigo. And when you look on
purple is one of the most powerful colors you can ever wear. Purple is a true color of spirituality, and purple is a color of royalty, and purple is the color of power. Purple is a very important, powerful color. But once again, you need to know when to wear it and how to wear it. Very important.
You're blowing my mind. And they even say certain color candle lights as well. White candle lights, purple, red, green. You've got to burn, and even smell as well. Incense, people. This is not spooky, this is real. This is about how we tap in. And I've always said this, we are gods. We are children of the Most High God. We are all gods. You know, we can think things into existence, and we just got to be careful with thinking to existence and don't allow programs to program. That's why I got into acting, you know, because I wanted to use it to help change lives. Because acting to me is one of the best art forms you can use to influence, to educate and enlighten people. Music, poetry, acting, the arts, which is on a lockdown right now. Yeah, the arts, as you said, brother, it opens up the brain, the mind. A sister came on this show a few weeks ago, she's a psychotherapist. She said she was dealing with a lady who had locked-in syndrome, which was caused by a car accident. She used this therapist. She used nature. She used altitude and height and the joy and the experience of going on a zip line to help that lady come out of her locked-in syndrome. It was an amazing story that I still have to post up on the YouTube channel. She used the elements to do that which is medically impossible, but spiritually possible. So when people say they got sickness, when they got illness, ailment of any type, there's certain things we can use that will absolutely unlock us from those ailments. Kevin, would you agree with me that there is nothing impossible?
The only possible and impossible is the frequency that you're vibrating in.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Jeez.
because guess what? Once upon a time, yeah, let's say we was in caves, and one caveman said to another caveman, "Do you know what? Do you want to try trees?" And the caveman probably said, "Nah, I'm good. I want to stay in the caves." All right, do you know what? Let me go in the trees. And then it moved from trees to this, to that, and now we're in skyscrapers. But here's the thing. Henry Ford said a very important thing. Henry Ford once said, the guy who made the Ford motor car, he said if he asked people what they wanted, they'd ask for a faster horse. Yeah? And so you have certain people like Henry Ford and Elon Musk and these people that will do what is impossible to others until it's done, it's impossible. Once they've done it, it becomes possible. So
someone said, what about blue?
Blue as in the color.
The color blue. What is it? Because every color has a frequency, people. Every color has a frequency.
Yeah. And do you know what? The easiest way to explain, if people can't understand frequency from a spiritual perspective, let me explain frequency from a very kind of easy layman perspective. Wear black in the boiling hot and see what happens. Have black seats, leather seats in your car and see what happens. You'll see that black takes in the heat and holds it, where the lighter colors will reflect the heat. So from a heat perspective, I'm trying to make it easier. But if we're talking spirituality, colors have a way of having effect on other human beings.
Teach.
Yeah. So I give a prime example. Okay. Okay. Here's another easy one for you, or for you guys, right? Just an easy one. So you're walking down the road, and it's 2 in the morning. Yeah. You see 5 guys in black, all in black. What do you feel?
You're gonna feel some kind of fear, trepidation. You're gonna feel that they're out on the move.
Right.
You know.
Now take those that same guys and put them in white.
Wow. Hey, that's deep, people. People, that's deep. They want to be visible. They want to be noticed. So your suspicion of them trying to do a move or something
changes. Now, don't get me wrong. There's 2 sides of it. There's a psychological side that society has put on people, but there's also a spiritual side of it as well.
That's deep.
But yeah, do we have any more questions? Because I know this one was about more Q&A, right?
Any questions, people? Please feel free. That was you answered that question regarding Mercury retrograde, and I know someone said something about the shadow, something from January the 5th. You can, people, if you literally, silence is a golden thing, you know. People, if you literally turn off the music and the TV, you can literally feel what's going on around the planet. You can feel it, and I have to bear witness. You can feel it and some people do stuff to get themselves treated. But look, people, if you want to call in, please call in. Please call in. I'll give you the number. This is, oh, just throw your questions down. Welcome, Divine Love. Throw your questions down on the add comment section. Kevin, I want to quickly show something real quick. And it relates to a Marvel movie, if I can. I want to show that Marvel and all of these top people, can we speak about the vaccine? Do you have a question about the vaccine, sir? Or madam, sorry. Do you have a question about it? But yeah, as I say, Marvel know about these things. They know about colors. Movie makers know about colors and color schemes and frequencies to evoke a certain kind of mood. Where can I learn more about colors? Yeah, that's a question, Kevin. Do you want to answer that? And I'll just quickly, got something real quick to do. Please answer that, and I'm going to continue, sir.
See, learning about colors is very interesting. There's a saying, you know, I've had mentors going back to when I was like 7, 8. I've had 25 mentors on average every single year from the age of probably 9, 10 up until now. It's kind of slowed down a bit. And the reason why I say that is because everyone who writes a book, everyone who makes a statement, sometimes they have their own spin on it. And so it takes accumulation of all different type of people to start making sense of it. So is there any one place to learn about colors? There is no one place to learn about colors. So as learners, and see colors, the conversation about colors go in so many different areas because I've read literature in all different kind of dialects and languages and had it translated and so on and so forth. You know, and where I think we go wrong sometimes, especially as, you know, English-speaking British people, but English-speaking people, we don't look for literature in other languages.
Yeah.
You know, we want everything to be presented to us in England, and so there's a world out there of all different dialects and languages and mindsets and behavior that are not in our language. So the journey of searching about certain things that are spiritual sometimes are not even in English, you know. So sometimes we've got to get one of them pens where you can translate the language or take a picture and then put a translator in it. And that's what I've done on many occasions. I don't just have books that are in English. So to simplify your question, where can you learn more about colors? There's many different places. There's spiritual shops you can go and learn about colors. There's places you can Google about colors. There's so many different places. It all depends on what the mindset, the intent, and the delivery of the author was and is in order for you to understand about colors in that sense. So go ahead.
Kevin, and what you said is on point because the chakra system is so real. Eastern philosophy and Eastern medicine, they talk about the 7 chakra points of your body. The highest chakra point of your body is what is called corona. People, listen, it's called corona. Not the virus, burn that, forget that. Corona in Latin means crown. Your highest point of view is your corona, your crown, which emanates the color purple or indigo. Then you got, God, I wish I had my chakras book here. The lower root chakra is red, the sexual organ, the desire. That's why Valentine's Day.
I think I may have one of my chakra books over there, funny enough. I'm looking and seeing if I've got it.
That's why they market Valentine's Day in the color. What color do they market Valentine's Day? Red. Red meaning love, passion, sex, the desire, fire. It's very deep, people. They don't use colors to market Valentine's Day, for example, for no reason. They use that color red for a purpose. Because if you look in the color chakra system, which one do you recommend then, please? Okay, that's for Kevin to answer. If you look at the color scheme of the chakra system, you will see there's people that can see auras. There's people that can literally see auras. And Kevin, you said something couple weeks back on our last one, I think it was part 2. You said that you was doing therapy for a lady, and this lady always had a lot of bad energy around her, and you asked her about the colors that she had in her home.
Yeah.
And you said words to the effect that she had colors that were like gloomy and dark colors, you know? And then you told her to change the colors of her environment, and that changed her mood. Colors carry vibration. Someone said something about the vaccine. What's that? Oh yes, the vaccine is attacking the crown. Yeah, I hear you. I did Reiki healing to work on my chakras. Meditation is key, people. Meditation is key. I'm just gonna...
Do you know when it comes to this world, right? It gets even deeper as well, which I must state also. It gets extremely deeper. You know, like, see, once again, like, we're having a very short conversation about just my experience of education. And my experience of education is accumulated over time. And so I'm squashing, I don't know if we're talking for an hour or hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm squashing over 10 years of consistent education experience, dedication, and commitment into an hour and a bit. So a lot of what I say is going to come across sometimes vague, and some of it's going to come over a bit overwhelming because I'm missing certain fundamentals. And so let me break down some things. See, when we're talking about certain things about feeling good and so on and so forth, see, a lot of things is not just about what your psychological behavior. A lot of things is also about the things that you have around you in your life. So, for example, you spend so much time in bed, but do you bless your sheets? What is the frequency of the sheets?
I was going to ask you to go there again, brother. I was going to ask you to go there again. Go ahead.
Right. So people buy things from the shop, and they take things from the shop, and then they just lay it on their bed. Do you forget about washing your sheets? Do you bless your sheets? What about your mattress? How many bodies do you have in your mattress? How many men or women have slept on your bed and left their energy behind? And you know what? Someone said we don't believe in people leaving their energy behind. Smell your pillow or smell your mattress after someone leaves it. Yeah, you'll smell their fragrance, or you'll smell their sweat, you'll smell something. Now, ignore the smell and turn it into a frequency. Because remember, when you smell something sometimes, it can make you want to throw up. Now, imagine, or you may smell something and it may turn you on. Now, remember I talk about scientists? Shops like Lush and all those kind of shops, they're scientists, so they blow the smell out that causes desire, horniness, and all different things. So what about the connection of what people are going through and what they're experiencing when they get in your bed? When they get in your bed, right, you don't understand that they're leaving a spiritual scent behind. And so many of you right now can't sleep at night, and you're asking yourself why. Many of you having nightmares, and you're asking yourself why. Many of you wake up with anxiety, and you're asking yourself why. And the reason why you're going through that, a part of the reason why you're going through that, because you're sleeping on a mattress that has been spiritually tainted by others. You're sleeping on your sheets that you don't know who was handling it beforehand. I'm writing my book at the moment, and there's a part in the book. Yeah, there's a part in the book that I'm writing at this precise time. And the part in the book is scientific. I'm not a natural academic, so I purposely push myself from an academic perspective to make sure that I can prove and back up some of the things I say. So there's a part in the book that I'm writing, it's going to be finished in March. There's a part in the book that I'm writing, and in this part of the book, it actually looks at hair, actual hair itself. And I spoke about, I wrote about a case study where a woman was poisoning her husband with arsenic, right? And as she was poisoning the husband with arsenic, over time he died. And they buried him. And then it came out that she may have potentially have poisoned him. They brought back up the body, and they cut his hair. When they cut his hair, they found arsenic in his hair over a period of time. So for every part of the hair, they saw every part of the hair represented 2 weeks. So they actually measured to a T that the woman was poisoning her husband for a period of about 2 months, and he died. Now let's go back to this. When women are taking extensions from other places around the world, they don't understand that the extensions are taking in frequency from all what the other people has been putting in their hair. So if they've been drinking poison, it goes into the hair. If they've been spiritually in a dark place, it goes into the hair. If they've been alcoholics, it goes into the hair. If they've gone through drugs or they had some form of disease, it all goes into the hair. And then they take this hair, put it into their real hair, and then what happens? Exactly, that's what weave on is about, weaving things together. They weave it into the hair, then all of the previous experience of the old person then goes back into their brain. And so you get a lot of women right now that suffer from migraines. You get a lot of women right now who are angry, they don't know why. You get a lot of women right now who are going through so much things and they can't understand why, because they brought frequencies of other women and other people and they weaved it into their hair, which is their chakra. Weaved it into their hair. And then all of a sudden it goes into your blood. And it's been a proven point that the hair carries frequencies. It's a fact. And do you know why it's a fact? Let me go for one more reason why. When you put your hand right on one of those static balls, what happens to the hair?
Your hair. Oh yeah, your hair responds. Your hair responds.
Right?
It stands up, right?
Exactly, because all the frequencies of your body goes into your hair.
Oh.
Right,
that's
and
what
so
they say,
all of
my hair stood up. The hair on my back of my head. You know what they say in Jamaica? They say, if you feel a doppy, to all my English friends, them, ghost, that's what doppy means. If you feel a doppy, they say your hair on the back of your neck stand up. I mean, I've been in many places where they say, oh, this place is haunted. And I can sense energy. I can sense energy. And we can all do that. I've been in places around the world where I could tell what happened in this house. For example, I was in a place in Los Angeles. It was me and my boy, John Muhammad, and we both knew something took place in this yard. They say that you have goose pimples. You know, when someone said about horror movies earlier, why is it that goose pimples stand up? Your hair. Why is it in Spider-Man, when he has spider senses, their hair? What is it about the hair antenna that warns you and tells you about certain vibrations and frequencies? And that is why, brothers, I'm going to bring the brothers into this. You've got to be careful what barbershop you go to, who touches your hair. Make sure they bless your hair. Make sure they're not having no dumb conversations when they're trimming your hair. Yeah? Because that energy will go into you. Even my virgin, I will say straight.
I walk with my shears. So I don't just say it, I walk with my shears. I walk with everything. Yeah, my spirit needs to be controlled by my spirit.
And people, that's why our mothers will also say, you don't eat at anyone's house. I had to tell my brother, look, because he was talking about an issue when he checked my hair. And I said, no, bro, we rebuke that. We'll turn that energy around and make that positive, because you're touching my hair right now. You're touching my hair. So everything you say while you touch me has to be positive. And this is why when babies are christened in the church, what do they do? Where's the first point that they go to? They bless the baby's head, touch their head, and christen. The christening ceremony, rather, is about water touching the head, which represents knowledge. And that's why I make no apology to say this to my sisters, the black women, them. I don't like weave. I don't like it. I love your natural hair more. I love your natural hair more.
Well, here's the thing, right? The reason why a lot of women, not all, but a lot of women struggle because they are spiritually and emotionally strangled by the hair that they're putting in their head.
Oh.
So a lot of women are struggling big time because, as I said, the frequency from other hairs that they're using, they're putting into their head, that all of a sudden it takes control. Do you know how much women in recent times suffer from major migraines? They suffer
Facts.
from major migraine because a lot of it comes spiritually from the weave that they're taking from other places. And you got to understand this. Remember the film Blood Diamond? It's all
Yeah, I
connected,
remember.
right? And so when people are taking hair, you got to understand the type of hair that they're taking and who they took it from and why they took it from. Do you know what I remember? I remember back in the days when I used to wear jewelry, right? I used to have my diamond chain, diamond earring, you name it, diamonds, diamond, my diamond Rolex watch and so on and so forth, right? And I remember I went to Hatton Gardens. We used to all go Hatton Gardens. And when I was in Hatton Gardens, I'll never forget this day. There's a guy named Doug in Hatton Gardens, for guys who remember Hatton Garden days. And Doug used to make all of our jewelry. And there was a man who came in. He was a Middle Eastern man. He was extremely powerful, and he was with a woman. And they asked a question. There was a guy named Jimmy's. They asked a question to Jimmy when he was buying a diamond. And they said to Jimmy said, do you know what, this diamond I can do at a good price. Yeah, the princess cut, I remember, a yellow princess cut diamond. And Jimmy said, I can do it at a good price. And they said, I don't care about the price. I want to know what mountain did this come from? And do you have a certificate from where the mountain came from? Now, we're just young. We're in there like, no, I want my Rolex watch. I want my this, I want my that. And I said to the man, why did you ask that? I was so intrigued.
Yes.
And the man said, based upon what mountain it comes from and how it was extracted, it will become your wealth or it will become your disaster.
Wow.
And that's the journey of me researching jewelry. Now, here's the thing about jewelry now, and I've got to explain this. This is all in the book that I'm writing. So I've actually written a chapter about gold and stuff already. And so gold and diamonds. So gold, what people don't realize, gold is also cells, like battery cells. You can store energy in gold. People don't understand this, right? So they would use gold also as a conductor, right? Now, when you go back to Egyptian times, there used to be gold antennae on top of the pyramids, right? And they were on top of the pyramids for a reason, because they were connecting with planets. But when I believe they started to loot the pyramids, the first thing that went were the antennae, the gold antennae. Yeah, and I know that the Germans and the Russians had a lot to do with taking the gold antennae, etc. Yeah. Now there's a when you put on jewelry, you're putting on the jewelry, and what happens? All the energy releases into you from the previous person who owned that jewelry. That's why certain type of jewelry is cheap to buy, because smart people will not buy it, or spiritual people will not buy it, because they know it's controlled by other energies previously before them. Okay? Now, when you had blood diamonds and all of that, when people are dying of those diamonds and when people are dying of certain things, what's happened is you turn around and you put this on your finger, and all of a sudden your life starts to go downwards. Do you know how much roadman were doing well until they started to buy jewelry? Do you know how much roadman, do you know how much people started to go well? And it's funny, if you watch The Wire, and something special happened in The Wire, if you look at things from a certain perspective, you would notice the science of certain storylines. Now, the old TV program, The Wire, which is probably my favorite show of all time.
One with the drinks?
Yes, right? So in The Wire, there's a storyline. And once again, whoever made The Wire is a scientist, because only scientists will understand this storyline. In The Wire, Milo says to a guy named Andre. So Andre is like, Milo's the bad boy, Milo's the top boy. And so Milo says to Andre, yo man, like, where you get this ring from? And Andre's like, oh yeah, this ring's all right. But Milo's a bad boy, Andre a bad boy, Andre's just a shotter, right? He's like, yeah, this ring. And so Milo's looking at this ring, and Milo's saying, man, this ring right here, I like it. Yeah. And Milo's like, yeah. So he's like, how much is it worth? He's like, no, it's sentimental value. So Milo's like, take off the ring. And Andre's like, oh, it can't come off. Then Chris in the background said, do you want me to help you take it off? And then he realized Chris is such a bad boy, I will chop your fingers off. Yeah. So he takes off the ring and he passes it on to Milo. Milo looks at the ring and he puts the ring on. Now Milo's rocking this ring. Then Omar, which is the local robber. Omar
Played by
now,
Kenneth
right?
Williams.
Yeah. So Omar kicks runs up in one of their yards where Milo's gambling, and Omar's robbing everything. Then something catches his eye, and he looks at the ring, and he says, "Man, take that ring off." Remember, Milo's a bad boy, you know. So Milo's like, "You know, this ain't over." And he's like, "Yeah, but take the ring off." So now Milo's wearing the ring. Now Omar's wearing the ring. Yeah. Now Omar's walking down the road, and then a corrupt policeman pulls him over. Now this corrupt policeman is patting him down, all the rest of it. Now he sees the ring, and he's like, "Give me the ring." And he takes the ring off of him. But because he's a corrupt policeman, the local youths don't like him. So one day they stick him up with masks on and all that, and they threw paint over him. But before they threw the paint on him, they saw the ring. And they said, "I want the ring." Everywhere this ring goes, cause destruction, war, and pain.
Lord of the Rings.
Same with Lord of the Rings, the same science. And so I wrote about this in the book as well. I wrote about Lord of the Rings, and I wrote about that particular set of chapters, episodes in The Wire, because it's over episodes. It weren't just one episode. And so once again, when we're wearing other people's jewelry, yeah, when we're doing all these things, we're taking on other people's energy. And so there's a law. It's not just a law of attraction. There's a law of so many other things. And that's why the law of attraction kind of annoys me a bit. And the book is so incomplete of law of attraction that it was frustrating. That when I even read the law of attraction, I was...
Somebody's trying to call you?
Yeah, as always.
Yeah, that's one law. The law of attraction is one law. There's so many other universal laws.
Exactly, exactly. So when people like reading, you know, the laws, etc., what they were missing was other laws that made the situation incomplete. So a lot of people's reading, you know, this book and that book. But once again, have you read the book that's in German? Have you read the book that is in Hebrew? Have you read the book? Have you got a translator that you can take a page and translate into English? So a lot of words can't be translated, but you get a good grasp of it. So when I'm studying these things and I look at my own life experiences, and I look at the experience of people around me, it becomes something that now I see it. I see it online, I see it on social media. I see so many different things now that it's so standard to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like I understand body language on a whole different spiritual level. I understand micro expressions on a whole different level from a scientific perspective. And so this is where we are. And to answer your first question when we came online, as a culture, as a community, we are at the bottom of the pot. If we was eating rice, we're eating, that's the part of the rice that is burnt and brown and mashed up. You've got the Chinese community who are going around the world and taking over the world from a scientific perspective. You've got the Jewish community who are going around the world and taking over the world from a scientific perspective. You've got elements of the white communities that are going around the world and taking over the world. And you've got so many different communities that are going around the world because they operate within a certain scientific understanding, frequency, and behavior. And what we're doing, yeah, and what we are doing is we are so in our foolishness. It's unreal. So when people try to draw me out, they don't understand that my picture is worldview and not local view. When people are trying to annoy me, they don't understand that they're not annoying me. They're destroying themselves. You're taking a poison pill and you want another man to die from it. Because see, here's the thing about darkness and light. When you're in a dark frequency, you have to by the science of all laws. If you're in the dark, you're in the dark. And the darkness represents anger, frustration, doubt, worry, pessimism, jealousy, anger, rage. You all have to live within that frequency. The people that you're around are all in that frequency. You ain't getting no happy people there. There's not one happy person there. So that's why when they talk about misery loves company, frequency loves frequency. Online foolishness loves online foolishness.
Come on.
All of that is connected fundamentally, spiritually together. And so what happens, you have certain people like, I don't want to come across, you know, in a grandiose kind of way, but you have certain people like us who would never, ever, ever entertain it on a certain type of skill and level, because we're too busy in our groups working out how to take over the world. And in a good way. We're too busy in our groups, very small groups we're in, very small groups of 5 and 6, and we're working on things, and we're asking ourselves, in the next 25 years, if we do this and this and this, will it have an impact? Within the next 15 years, do we do it like this or do we do it like that? You know, in the next 10 years, this is the way we think. This is the way we behave. Because even when you play the game of chess, which was made by the Masons, for example, right? The chess is based upon science. Understand how to play chess, the scientist kind of game. Drafts is for drafts. Chess is a scientist game. Drafts is for people that think that far. Chess is a scientist game. And chess is designed to help you open your thought process in order for you to think the next 10 steps ahead. Right, so you have to be a chess player in this world. They're all connected together. It's a science. And so what is this conversation got to do with most people right now? This conversation has got to do with most people right now is, one, change your frequency before you find your friends. Change your frequency. Change your frequency before you find your friends.
Bingo.
You don't find your friends in the wrong frequency. Never do that. Rule number 1, never do that. Never get into a relationship in the wrong frequency. Has my microphone gone a bit lower?
No, I can hear you. Can we all hear our guest Kevin today? My son loves chess. I'm so bad at it though. At least you're doing it. Just keep playing it. Yeah, it's a truth. As it was stated earlier, chess is a strategic game. Can we all hear Kevin? I can hear you well, Kevin. Can we hear our guest Kevin?
It's gone low. So I'll just ask him. So it's harder for me to hear you. So it's good for you can hear me, because when they call my phone, it actually just changed the I don't know, something's happened with my phone now, so I apologize for that. So here's the thing. Relationships. What you have to do from a relationship perspective is you have to turn around and ask yourself, okay, let's start, let me go back a bit. Here's how you do it. And it's going to be in the book as well, okay, when I'm writing this book, right? So just listen out for the book, guys. This book's going to be absolutely a game changer. It'll break down everything about frequency. It's going to have worksheets and stuff for you to work with as well.
Go ahead.
So, first and foremost, ask yourself a fundamental question. How do I feel? And the first 2 questions you're going to give is going to be very surface. Keep on writing it. How do I feel? I feel angry. I feel doubt. I feel worried. Write it all down. Then, next to it, why? Why do I feel that way? I feel that way because... And once again, the first 2 or 3 questions, answers, is going to be very surface. I feel frustrated because coronavirus. I feel frustrated because I lost my job. Okay, why? Keep asking yourself why. I lost my job because the vacancies, my job went into administration. Okay, but why? Well, why did you get to that place? Well, I remember when I started my job at that time, I was feeling this way. Okay, why was you feeling that way? I was feeling that way because, you know, maybe, you know, I didn't have enough confidence to study or go for what I wanted to study or go for. Okay, why did you feel that way? Why didn't you have no confidence at that time? Well, I didn't really have no confidence at that time because, you know, going back to it when I was a child, you know, I was told I wasn't good enough. Why were you told you wasn't good enough? Well, well, from what I remember, you know, my mum was telling me that I could never be this, and maybe because my mum had resentment for my dad. Why did your mum have resentment for her dad? Well, she had resentment for my dad because my dad apparently was like this and this and this. Why was your dad like this and this and this? And as you go back in frequency, you can start to work out the core of your trauma. And your
Wow.
trauma is connected to your emotional behavior today, which then ends up in the results of you feeling like you're not good enough. So all of a sudden you go into relationships that's connected to the original trauma of why you believe you are what you are. And so as you start to identify them, you start to separate them. You start the work of forgiveness. Mom, I forgive you for saying that about me. Brother, I forgive you for being like this. Uncle, I forgive you for whatever it may be. Dad, I forgive you for not being a part of my life. And the forgiveness is not for them. The forgiveness is to allow you to be detached from the frequency that you was in originally. And so what happens, you start to detach yourself, detach yourself, detach yourself, detach yourself, detach yourself, detach yourself, all in stages. And then you're ready for a relationship. Then you'll meet a guy or a girl that makes sense in the right frequency. So all of a sudden now, you adjust your frequencies, because your original frequency was not from what you're feeling today, but it was from the original frequency of anger, feeling, sorry, go ahead.
No, brother, you're on a roll. I just want to shut my mouth. Let's just bless it up with some more fire. God bless it. Come on now. We don't say God damn it. We say God bless it round here. And that's so true what you said, brother. That to me is called self-auditing. The word self-examination came to my mind this week when I had my meditation. Someone asked, how do we meditate? You meditate by just simply allowing yourself to be. Just be aware of your now. And being aware of now, right now, where you are right now, and giving thanks. Man, let's see some fire. So, go ahead.
Yeah. If I find myself shouting, it's because now I'm my energy, man, is all over the place. Right.
Holy Spirit, brother.
Let me just give you some basics about meditation first and foremost, yeah, because I know a lot of people struggle about meditation. But once again, I don't want you guys to give yourself too much kind of what I call psychological gymnastics about meditation, right? Because even when you're in an alpha style type kind of sleep, you're in a type of meditation. Sometimes you're on the bus or the tube and you've just zoned out. That is also meditation. So what we're talking about is purpose meditation, because we're always going through in and out of moments of meditation. Now we'll talk about focus, purpose meditation, okay? Now, here's the thing. We got to look at the science of the brain first and foremost. Your brain don't like you. You've got to know and understand this. Yeah, your mind, your brain doesn't like you. All your mind and your brain wants is an experience. It doesn't care about you. It wants an experience. So every time all your mind wants is an experience. Okay, why do you want to jump off a building? Why do you want to skydive? Why do you want to get into a fight? Why do you want to stab someone? Why do you say to yourself when someone's walking past you on the tube line, I could just push them right now? You know, why do you want to drive faster than you want to drive? Why do you want to do all of that? Because your mind wants an experience. It doesn't care about the end result. It doesn't care about you getting arrested. It doesn't care about you pushing the person and hurting their family. It doesn't care about you taking drugs. It doesn't care about you not using a condom when you're having sex. It doesn't care about any of those things. What it cares about is an experience. Right. So why do I say that? Because when you try to meditate, your mind realizes that you don't want the mind to be a part of it. So it declares war on you. This is what you got to do tomorrow. This is what you got to do, whatever. Is someone calling you? Do you want to check your phone? Do you want to this? Because you're detaching yourself from your mind, and your mind starts to declare war on you, because the mind realizes that you are saying, I do not want nothing to do with you right now. This is about spirituality and not mind fear. So your mind starts to declare war on you. So first and foremost, you have to trick your mind into going to a state of meditation. You have to trick it into a state of meditation. So how do you trick your mind into a state of meditation? Okay, let's go into this. In order to trick your mind into a state of meditation, you've got to give your mind a task. Because to say, I don't want to think about not thinking, means you're thinking about not thinking, which then is counterproductive. So you have to give your mind a task. What you've got to do is say to your mind, let's focus on breathing. So the mind's like, yay! Let's focus on breathing. I'm working. So all of a sudden now, you say, okay, focus on breathing up, focus on breathing down, focus on breathing up, focus on breathing down. But as you focus on breathing up and down, the mind is starting to fall asleep. So all of a sudden you start to fall asleep, focus on breathing up and down. Because the task for the mind, it goes into a subconscious state. So all of a sudden you're telling the front vortex of your mind to do something that the back of your mind naturally does anyway. The subconscious part. So what happens, the more you're telling it what to do, it passes the work over to the back of your mind and it starts to fall asleep.
Wow.
Now, as it starts to fall asleep, then you can go into your subconscious state of meditation. So give your mind a very basic task like breathing up and down. But if you don't, your mind's going to declare war on you until you're properly trained out to do it. Until that time, you're going to say, let me close my eyes. And then all of a sudden, your mind's going to give you all these things to do. And this is why people can't sleep at night. Because your mind doesn't want to go to sleep. It's declaring war on you because it wants to remain active. So you have to be very careful what you go to bed with. Careful of the films you watch. Careful of the things you take in. Because your mind wants to process it. And it's not going to allow you to sleep.
Come on. And a lot of people might, and you know what, I'm not judging anyone. People may want to have a bit of a drink. People may want to have a bit of a smoke. Some people need to take sleeping tablets. Some people do pornography. All sorts to relax their mind. It doesn't make you a bad person when we do these things. See, because we're getting rid of all the guilt. Guilt is a thing. We do a lot of things and we feel guilty afterwards. And what you said there in terms of the breathing meditation is we do that in acting classes, we do that in martial arts. And there's times when I'm trying to sleep and I'm like, oh man, I got to get early and I can't get myself to sleep. So one of the things I would do, I play meditational music, high frequency music, because music has frequencies. Over 500 hertz is very healthy. And then below that, it's meant to represent something very not so healthy for you. Now we're talking about sacred geometry, but that's for another time, sacred geometry. So what I do, I like to play meditational music on Spotify, fall asleep with that, and just literally focus on breathing. And and here's another majestical thing about it, Kevin. You're so on point, bro. Point. I've actually, people will call me mad for this, but I've been places, I've seen stuff just in that state of meditation. I forgot what they call it, if it's beta, but you're vibrating at a certain point when you're near to sleep, but not quite asleep. And that's where now you can do things like astral projection. You can travel, you can see things, you can create, you can hear stuff that are not actually in the room. And some people think, boy, it's spooky, but we're talking about science here. And I'm telling you, you can go places and see things, especially now in this moon energy. We've got to take advantage of it because creation is made to service us. And yeah, I would definitely recommend just breathing in and breathing out. You see stuff. I've seen things. I've gone places. I've heard, okay, ancestors. I was referring to Marvel earlier. That stuff in Black Panther is real, where he went to the ancestral plane. Yeah? There's a documentary on Netflix right now called Life After Death. And I'm not pushing, let me tell you something, live your life now. But there is other realms, there's other dimensions, people. The Bible speaks of it, all the holy books speak of it. You are energy, you are frequency, you are limitless. That's why they can make movies on it. Like, again, movies reflect life. You can go places, literally, just through meditation. It gives your mind a break, because scientists said, and I've read this years ago, over 20 years ago, thinking, stress, this life alone, this system we're talking about, you're burning brain cells. And brain cells are the only cells that don't repair themselves. So literally, and what they say is prayer, when you pray, you're literally saving your brain cells. When you meditate, you're saving your brain cells. When you rest, you're literally saving the burning of your brain cells. Those Tibetan monks, those Lama monks, live for a very long time because they engage in meditation. Buddha be praised, you see on those Kung Fu movies. You know what I'm saying? They live and they're physically strong as well.
Yeah, you're right. And also as well, just on a very basic scale, probably some good books to read. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
a book about fish oil. And this is all about helping the brain as well. Yeah, so it's about inflammation on the brain and stuff, and the right things to use and eat and so on and so forth. And then this book as well is actually a good brain and a good book, sorry. And if you notice, all these books are about inflammation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Read that. The diet. What?
And
Diet.
once again, you know what it said? The science. See, it's always about the science. Remember I said to you the science. So this book is the science of anti-inflammation diet.
Come on.
And the other one is fish oil for chronic inflammation. Now, remember, inflammation on the brain is what causes depression.
Yeah.
Inflammation on the brain is what causes depression. So when you have inflammation on the brain, basically this will help depression. One of the tools, not all, one of the tools. Yeah. And I've got all these other tools as well. I've got, see, if you notice, another book on inflammation diet, psychology. I've got EMF practice guide. I've got heal your body and cure your mind. Heal your body and cure your mind. I've got another book here. I've got a book, man, some books. 1 second. Got heal your body. 1 second.
Yes, people, you're tuning to Kevin Bennett, Courtney Winston. Follow, like, and subscribe, people. Follow, like, and subscribe.
So, oh, this is a really good book, yeah. Heal your body, cure your mind.
Wow.
And then we've got another book here. The Inflammation Diet Protocol.
Yeah. Funny enough.
The anti-inflammation diet protocol.
Yeah. Funny enough, but I was studying diet today. Really true, because I'm studying fasting today. You know, fasting, people. Definitely.
Man, I've got so many, man. I've even got my favorite book at the moment. My actual favorite book at the moment is this one here, but it's a bit more in a different direction. Actually, just glimpsed it. Where is it? I've got so many books. I've got books going right up, and books will be
library.
There's one particular book I'd like to show you. I don't think most people. I just actually saw it. Where's that book going?
And people, another thing, I have to say this. Diet strengthens your immunity. Fasting strengthens your immunity. And it gives the mind a strong body to live in. So definitely diet, you know, food, what you put in your mouth physically is so important. And I've done fasting in my time, and I will seek to get back into that discipline. It's a beautiful thing. You've got a lot more energy when you fast. I admire Muslims to fast throughout Ramadan. Christians. What's the name of the title of that, bro?
This is my favorite book at this precise time. But it's very in a different direction.
Activated what? I can't. Oh, activate neuroscience. Neuroscience activate. It's back to front.
Effective neuroscience.
Yeah.
The foundations of human and animal emotions. Very powerful book. I've learned so much from this.
Amazon?
Sure.
Nice.
My favorite book at this precise time. It's a good read, though.
Woo. Yeah. We're going to see some audio books, man.
Yeah. I don't play. And even, it's funny because I need to buy an updated one. But even these there, when you go to the doctors or the hospital, they will all have these books.
Yes, sir.
Every time you go to the doctor will have one of these books.
What's that?
And so this book here, basically, a lot of them are not cheap. Buy them secondhand if you can, if you're interested. But what it does, it looks at every single prescription out there, and it tells you the side effects of it, and it tells you the benefits and the side effects. And so you've got one for adults.
Mm.
and you've got one for children. So this is what they will prescribe children. And so this is the one they would use when they're prescribing stuff for children.
2018-2017 for children. BNF?
No,
Is that the
2017, that's the year. That's the year.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
year.
You know what? It goes back to front.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's a nightmare. I know. So once again, here's the thing, right? When I'm working with clients, okay, sometimes I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm like, why isn't it working? Well, the prescription that they was taking, for example, or whatever it may be, you know, it could be for fibroids or whatever. The side effects of it is depression. So now I'm dealing with someone. Yes, that's the book. Yeah, I'm
Thank you,
working with
boss lady.
someone. Yeah, I'm working with someone, for example, and I'm doing all the things that are right, but their system is filled with things that affects their hormones or things that will affect their their the dopamine or whatever in their brain. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when those things are happening, or the amygdala, you know, and when you're having things affect your amygdala or the dopamine, the problem that you've got is you're fighting a very difficult fight. So I may have to turn around and say, tell me all the medication you're reading, you're taking. I have to then search it up, find it, and then say, okay, what can we use as an alternative? Maybe we can use something what they called St. John's wort. Now, St. John's wort is a natural thing to deal with depression. That's not a chemical, for example. So then we look at, so when people say to me, Kevin, are you a counselor? The answer is no. I don't have. I'll tell you one of my best times in my professional career. Best time, probably up there in the top 2. When I started working with Croydon Council, right? Croydon Council called me in and they said, Kevin, we heard you're good, but are you qualified? And I said, no, I'm not qualified. And they said, okay, well, we heard you're good, so we're going to try you out for a day, just a day. And we're going to bring in some social workers that are going through stress and trauma. We just wanted to see if it's worth it. Anyway, 4 months later of me working there, yeah, because from day one, and they gave me a very hard task. And here's the task what they gave me. It wasn't easy. Here's the task. And it was interesting because someone told me they put you in a situation to lose because all the budgets and stuff. I'm not cheap, especially the day rate. So they gave me a task. Imagine what they gave me. Just think about this. I start at 9 in the morning. I have 30 minutes break up until 6. And I've got 30 minutes with each client. I've got to open them up, find the problem, close them back, all in 30 minutes. One after another. One after another. One after another. One after another. Yeah? Right? So what happened now? I started to find ways to help people in a short burst of time just from that alone. But see, here's the thing. Going back to my original point. What was one of the most exciting times in my professional career was that as I started to work with more people, more social workers, all of a sudden, therapists were coming to me to help them. Yeah, I had people that had their masters, who were very powerful in many different ways, right? In many different ways. And imagine me, who didn't even study it formally, very non-formal, formally end up becoming the most requested person to deal with stress and trauma in Croydon Council's history. And all of a sudden, I started talking in the House of, well, before that, slightly before and after, I started talking in the House of Parliament. So I started to do workshops with councils, governments all around the world. People, it was just one request. I've never promoted myself. It was governments calling me and aristocrats calling me and these people calling me in. And I remember I sat with a therapist once and I said to her, can I ask you a question? What is the difference between me? Because I don't know. I don't know. So what's the difference between me and other therapists you've worked with or psychologists and whatever? They said, because you was taught with no bounds. You were taught with no rules in place. You know, you understand spirituality. You understand frequencies. You understand this. It's not just normal science. It's because you understand. I had a spiritual problem. I didn't want someone to talk to me about, you know, how my brain is working at precise time, because as a therapist, I know myself, but there was something that I didn't understand that was out of their remit. So when I can sit down and start saying to her, you're in an electron state, and this is where it happened 9 years ago on this particular day. And so what we need to do is adjust this. Tell me what's in your house. Okay, tell me about take a picture and show me, come back tomorrow. Okay, tell me what that picture means in your house. What does that mean? What does that mean? And I started to work out that frequency. That is when my son died. Okay, so when you walk past that, tell me what comes to mind. It makes me angry. Okay, we've got to take that picture down. Tell me about this. It makes me like this. Tell me about that. Then I look at the diet. What are you eating? I'm eating this particular thing. Tell me about that. So it's not just from a therapist or a psychologist perspective. It goes even deeper. Spirituality, medication. I will never prescribe medication because I look deep and I'll never touch it. But I need to know what people are taking, for example. Right? Tell me what you're watching on TV. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Tell me about when's the last time you cleaned out your knicker drawer? Have you bought new knickers recently? Clear those out. When you was with that person who you slept with and it went wrong, wherever, what was you wearing? Get rid of those. Wow. It goes a lot deeper than just the psychology of the mind or the biochemistry of the body. It goes a lot deeper.
Brother, you know what? We can go on and on all evening, brother. I'm totally aware that you brought a lot of food to the table, bruv. And, you know, we are belly full. We're belly full. And as sister said, powerful. And I'd love to continue on. This is uploaded to YouTube. This is uploaded to various different social media platforms, brother. Awesome. Yeah, an exorcism of the house, mind and body is what we need. Mind, body, and home. We need total exorcism. Like, that's old clothes, things that you don't need. Brother, pointers on terms of being careful what we receive in terms of gifts and what we wear, the colors, everything. Meditation, breathing, becoming the person we want to become in order to attract what we want, going back, the electrons and the photons, going back into the trauma, forgiving and healing so that we can have brand new relationships. Because it's really sad that, you know, a lot of us carry the trauma with us for the rest of our life and don't fully live the fullest potential that we can do and must do. So we must forgive self and others to move on, to be clean again. And that's, the Bible goes into this, about the baptism. People think it's about going into war. It's not. Ye shall know the truth and the truth will set you free, man. Zoom class. Yes, we're going to do that, definitely. So I was watching Doctor Strange the other day, the Marvel movie. And it goes into Western philosophy versus Eastern, and how he discovered the mind, the third eye, and opened himself up to a whole new spiritual realm. But he had to be cleansed of all of that Western philosophy. No, it's not okay for us to have casual sex and jump from partner to partner. It has more vicious consequences on women to do that than men. And I said it, and it's fact. That's scientific fact. We cannot be doing that. Not more to the point, we have to be very careful with whom we intertwine ourselves with. Yeah, it's lonely and lockdown. No. This is the time now we got to struggle, to fight, to really value ourselves. And even when we want to do these things, we have to go back into it, because a lot of these things are trauma. They're trauma related. So those books that you lay down, brother, people watch this live back. Take notes. I'm going to watch this back and take notes. Yes, soul ties, that's right. You look, and it's almost, the soul ties are oozing out of people. You spoke on the validation that people get from likes on social media. People relying on it. We've got to cut off, we've got to learn to cut off from social media at times. You know? I, myself, have to stop myself from being drawn out into these arguments and stupid posts that are irrelevant. It's not, it's just, yeah, lock off. So, brother, just to round up, I'm going to give you the last few
So
moments
as we're
around
talking,
the
I'm
world.
always writing notes. Always writing notes.
Look at that.
I'm writing notes. So if you see me,
I'm going to watch this back and take my notes. And we hope that you all took your notes, people. School has been in. Even if it's 5, 20, or 30 people, school is in. And we people, go and like and subscribe to our YouTube Black Film Institute. Go and see part 1, part 2, and now part 3. Go and watch all of the videos, man. Binge on it like you're watching Lord of the Rings, yo. Kevin, my brother. So let's big up your book, and let's please give us the date of when your book comes out.
yeah.
And
So
let's
this,
do
yeah,
the
as I said,
next
this
thing we
book
do is going to be
gonna
on a
break
Zoom
down.
thing. We're going to do a Zoom next time, I think, so we can bring in
Yeah,
more people and it's more
as
interactive.
the book will break down everything into a science. So it's going to be hopefully as simplistic. I'm going to make what's complicated simple, and it's going to have worksheets and stuff with it. It's going to have like here, we're going to have like what you call your life board. So your life board, everyone needs a life board. Everyone needs a life
Yes,
board.
sir.
It's going to have what you call your feelings assessment. It's going to have everything you absolutely need. All the things that I've put together over the years, and all the things that these are all stuff that works. It's nothing that is just theory. It all works. It's all.
Yeah.
If it's about theory, I probably can write a book that's got 1,000 pages. This book's
Yeah.
going to be about 180 pages on all the things that absolutely 100% categorically works, and it's worked over and over and over again. So the book is going to break down every single emotion, like what we spoke about. It's going to break down your feelings assessment. It's going to break down all the things you need to do spiritually, psychologically, physically, even from
Work.
like here's something for you guys, like just a quick tip, literally. Buy a very small trampoline,
Yeah. I remember you saying
and
this.
put it and use it when you get up in the morning and in the afternoon and different times, and you're going to see what happens to your energy straight away. So for
Brilliant.
someone who said, well, I don't know if I answered all their question, but for someone, one of you guys said, what's kind of one of the things we can do when we're in the house? Just even 5 minutes on a trampoline will change your depression and will change your mood as well. So jumping on a very small trampoline, they're probably about this big. Jump on a very small trampoline, you can get them off of Amazon, wherever, and you'll see that in a very short time, you'll change your energy.
Question, brother. If, for example, we have things, belongings, or ex-partners that we had intertwined ourselves with, and the energy is still on the mattress, how do we exercise that energy? Do we just simply bless it and pray over it? How do we break? Because some soul ties are good, actually. Some
Well, there you go.
connections are good.
Sometimes you're the curse and not your partner.
Huh?
I said, sometimes in life, you may be the curse and not the partner. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
you're the
exactly.
problem. And
That's
not the
right.
partner.
That's right. Facts. Facts.
You
Facts.
know what I mean? Because you know, it's a lot of people that's in a dark place will always blame other people that's in the light. So
Exactly.
sometimes in life, you know, what you've got to do is see, right, stage one, as I said, stage one, what we spoke about is to first analyze where we are from a frequency perspective. You know, how do I feel? I feel this way, this way, this way. Well, you're in the dark. So you have to start clearing out your darkness. And you've got to work out where that darkness came from and when it creeped in. See, don't get me wrong, we can go through bouts of low moments. That's natural, but if you're consistently there and it repeats itself over and over again, it's you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's right.
Self-analysis and
Self-examination.
Yeah. As I said, I'm gonna get back to writing my book. Actually,
Yes.
my book is titled as well for myself. Like when I'm writing, it's inspired. So I always make sure I'm writing it. I feel inspired. So I'm inspired to jump onto it now. So like I'm writing a whole part here about stress and all the rest of it, and just writing some notes before I start going into the other part of the book, and it breaks down the duration of stress and all the rest of it. So here's all my notes there. I've got like pages and pages of notes talking about heart disease and all that. So before I do certain things, I write it in this book first, long-term stress, and then I write all the notes for it. And so, yeah, This is my book, my baby. And
Awesome.
I've got another
Brother, we're gonna have a
book.
Zoom on that, and we're gonna. I think the next time we link up, we should go on a Zoom platform, and we'll properly pump it out and give the publicity for
Yeah,
it,
we
brother.
definitely
There's so
get
much
it there, man.
I'm
Definitely.
full
I've got my
with
other book
wisdom and
as
knowledge and
well. I
understanding.
actually lock, so no one can get into this book. I actually lock it.
It reminds me of them movies there. You
Yeah,
got
so
the key in
inside
the
this
book,
book,
you know what I'm saying? Never ending story or something like that.
break things down into a science in this book. So this is what I call my scientist book. And so
Wow.
I've got all the science in this book, and no one can read it. Like, bro, normally you get glimpse of it. I break down the body in this book, everything. So this is my scientist book that I kind of unlock when I'm not around. So yeah,
Awesome.
I'm a ferocious reader. And I'm also a ferocious writer as well.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, guys, I'm gonna love you to
I'm
bits.
gonna never leave you, brother, because I'm gonna charge up this phone there, upload it for YouTube. Everyone follow, like, subscribe to Kevin. Patronize the book when it come out. Yeah, that book has to be on the lock and key. You done know in the tip of the iceberg. You done know. Oh
Peace.
boy, oh, trust me. Yeah, man. Want to say love to everyone that's joined us. Kevin, once again, thank you. We're going to get you back on. We're going to talk. We're going to pattern up the thing. Thank you very much again, brother. That's right. Knowledge is power. Peace and love. Everyone follow, like, and subscribe.
Knowledge is power. Applied knowledge. Applied knowledge is power.
That's right.
When you apply it, that's the only time it's power. Until then, it's just knowledge.
Is power. Love that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, man. All right, brother. Peace and love, yeah? Thank you, King. Thank you. Much appreciated. People, that was Kevin Bennett. Please follow, like, and subscribe to YouTube channel. This YouTube channel, I'll call it, because now you're watching this on YouTube, it's on Instagram and all these things. Fire, fire. Everybody, hey, let's bless it up. God bless it, man. Come on, round of applause. That's right. Get your trampoline, get your books, take notes, play this back. Take notes, man. On this lockdown, take notes, study, and applied knowledge is power. So on that note, we will leave you with love. And I'm going to leave you on this Marvel film. I want you to all tune in to Andrew the Investigator next week. Type in Andrew the Investigator. Big up myself. I see you, man. Andrew the Investigator is a master movie breakdown analysis. He's got a thing called Doctor Strange, and that's on his Zoom. But please go and check him out on his website, and that is The Investigator. Andrew the Investigator. Andrew Muhammad the Investigator. You can see